I'm Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb, who, if nothing else, will give you value for your subscription. You think you're just getting one column, but on some days like today, you're getting two. You make two different points here about schools reopening. You think it is correct that the Governor Doug Ducey was right to tell the schools that this is the time to reopen, but you also question whether he has the power to do that in the first place. And I guess let's start with the first one. You think schools should be back open?
I do. I've not taken that position through the pandemic to this point because while I thought it was safe for schools to be open, I didn't think that we should require people, administrators, teachers, students, to do anything that they were uncomfortable doing while the pandemic was raging. The serious cases have plummeted. Teachers are mostly vaccinated by now. And so I think the moment has arrived where the right thing to do is to open the schools. And there is a paradox for me and Ducey's management of the COVID crises. While I think he has exceeded his authority in numerous circumstances, including this one, I think it has resulted in the right balance between open and shut as a general proposition.
Right. You say that, I mean, you can't find in the state laws or constitution that Ducey has the power to order schools to reopen, even though most of them seem to be taking his order as something they have to follow.
Yes, this is the clearest example yet. Possible exception with overriding the contractual obligations with respect to leases of the governor saying something he has absolutely no authority to say. The governor has no formal role in the administration and operation of schools. His involvement in education, K-12 education, is sharply limited. He can sign or veto legislation dealing with K-12, and he appoints, subject to Senate confirmation, the members of the State Board of Education. That's it. We have a State Board of Education. We have a Department of Education. We've got people who administer the schools, school board members, charter school operators, none of whom report to the governor and are the ones who are vested with that authority. So I do think it's good that the schools generally, while complaining about the short fuse on the governor's order, he gave them less than 2 weeks to flip on a dime and open entirely if they weren't planning to do so. But they seem to be willing to comply, and that's good for the kids.
Yeah, and I guess there's a discussion and there's legislative bills looking at what the governor's emergency powers should be and if the legislature should step in, and your column really goes into those details. Is there a worry that by having that discussion now that we're so focused on the results of this crisis, this emergency, and not looking at theoretical ones down the road?
With respect to getting the legislature in the game and concurrently agreeing that there's a state of emergency that triggers extraordinary governmental powers, I don't know that it's premature. That's sort of a structure of government theoretical issue that I think fairly can be discussed in isolation. Our toolkit, the statutes that say who can do what once an emergency is declared, is an absolute mess. And straightening that out requires a lot of deliberation and thought. And I don't think right now and during this legislative session is the time to do it. I'm hopeful that the legislature will turn its attention to that task for the next legislative session.
The next legislative session, which hopefully we will be out of said current emergency and not have to open this toolkit for a good long time.
That would be good.